We've all had those moments watching movies where we turn to our friends and say, "This part is so unrealistic." And while sometimes it's just a way to add some levity to an otherwise engrossing plot, other times there's a deeper truth to it. In rare cases, the uncanny realism stems not from the writer's cleverness or the actor's talent, but from unexplainable events that occurred during the making of the film. There are some movies whose stories echo strangely with their production process, raising questions about fate, coincidence, or maybe something beyond our understanding. Join us as we explore some movies that reality messed with. Heaven's Gate, 1980. Set against the backdrop of the infamous Johnson County War in Wyoming, this epic Western film was meant to be Michael Cimino's next big success after the triumph of The Deer Hunter. However, the road to cinematic glory was paved with misfortune. First, the budget ballooned from $22 million to an astonishing $44 million. Much to the chagrin of United Artists, the studio funding it. Then tragedy struck during filming in the winter of 1979. A freak weather event buried the production in record snow, forcing a halt in shooting. Eventually, when the movie was finally released, it was met with scathing reviews and tanked at the box office. United Artists, already on shaky financial ground, crumbled under the weight of Heaven's Gate's failure. It wasn't until years later that the film started gaining a cult following and critical acclaim. Still, the damage was done. The movie became synonymous with colossal flops, and its production was forever etched in Hollywood lore as one of the industry's greatest cautionary tales. The Day the Clown Cried, 1972. This movie is often cited as one of the worst ever made, but that's partly because it doesn't exist. Or if it does, no one has seen it. The Day the Clown Cried is a bizarre comedy drama based around a German clown forced to perform for Jewish prisoners during the Holocaust. Jerry Lewis was both the star and director of this ambitious project. However, the movie went terribly wrong. It was a critical and commercial failure. To make matters worse, Lewis himself was dissatisfied with the film, believing it trivialized the gravity of the Holocaust. He spent years trying to suppress the movie, even going so far as to purchase every print he could find. Although footage from the film occasionally surfaces, the movie as a whole has never been officially released. As for why it turned out so badly, theories abound, ranging from Lewis's own perfectionism to claims that the set was haunted by the ghosts of Holocaust victims. Whatever the truth, The Day the Clown Cried remains a haunting enigma in filmmaking history. The Wicker Man, 1973. This atmospheric folk horror film tells the story of a devout Christian police officer investigating the disappearance of a young girl from a secluded island community. But as he uncovers the island's pagan secrets, he finds himself trapped in a terrifying game of cat and mouse with a sinister local cult. The Wicker Man gained a cult following after its initial release, and is now considered a classic of the horror genre. But the road to cult status was not without its share of obstacles. One of the biggest challenges during production was finding the right location. Director Robin Hardy wanted a remote, isolated place that would enhance the film's sense of dread and claustrophobia. After searching for months, they found the fictional island of Summer Isle located on the Isle of Man in the Irish Sea. But the weather on the Isle of Man was notoriously unpredictable, often subjecting the crew to harsh winds, rain, and even snow. Undeterred, the crew pressed on. They constructed elaborate sets in a clearing in the forest and began filming. But soon they realized that they had made a grave mistake. The clearing they had chosen was actually a burial ground. According to local folklore, the spirits of those buried there were restless and would often cause disturbances in the middle of the night. As if this wasn't enough, strange accidents began to befall the crew. Props were ruined, equipment was damaged, and several crew members were injured. Some even claimed to have seen ghostly apparitions lurking around the set. Hardy, intrigued rather than frightened, decided to incorporate these strange occurrences into the film. He believed that the spirit of a young girl who had died on the island many years ago was trying to communicate with them. Salem's Lot, 1979. This horror film is the story of a small town that is overrun by vampires. The movie is based on Stephen King's novel of the same name and was directed by Carl Schenkel. Despite its relatively low budget of $1.5 million, Salem's Lot went on to gross over $20 million at the box office. Not bad for a film about a bunch of vampires, right? Well, not exactly. See, despite its commercial success, Salem's Lot was not well received by critics. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times gave it a rating of 1.5 out of 4 stars and called it a disappointing movie. So what went wrong? Well, according to some, it might have had something to do with the fact that the film was shot in the summer, which is not only the busiest time of year for the film industry, but also happens to be vampire season. Coincidence? Maybe, but it didn't stop there. During filming, there was a serious car accident that resulted in one cast member being hospitalized. Plus, several crew members claimed to have experienced strange phenomena that they couldn't explain. All of this culminated in a rather underwhelming final product. So while Salem's Lot might have been a financial success, it's safe to say that it could have been so much more. And then we have the Poltergeist franchise, which was reportedly plagued by a series of unfortunate events, starting with the first film in 1982. During filming, the young actress who played the central character, Heather O'Rourke, became seriously ill and was rushed to the hospital. She recovered, but soon became sick again, and eventually passed away at the age of 14. The second movie in the series was also marred by tragedy. Dominique Dunne, who played the mother in the film, was strangled to death by her ex-boyfriend, and the third movie was no different. Julian Beck, who played the main antagonist, was diagnosed with stomach cancer shortly after filming Wrapped. Despite the darkness hanging over each film, the Poltergeist franchise has become a staple of the horror genre. It's natural for us to seek patterns and connections, especially when faced with unfortunate events. However, it's important to approach such topics with sensitivity. People's lives and deaths should be treated with respect and dignity, and using them to support superstitious claims can be deeply offensive to those involved. While stories of supposed curses surrounding certain movies are intriguing from a narrative standpoint, it's crucial to remember that behind these legends are real individuals who have experienced genuine joy, sorrow, and everything in between. Their stories deserve to be honored and remembered, not exploited for clickbait or sensationalism. What do you think? Do you believe in movie curses? Or is there always a more logical explanation for the strange things that happen on set? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. We would love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more entertaining content like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.